In this video, we're looking at the topic complex fractions without variables, problem type 1. So a complex fraction, guys, is anytime you have a fraction divided by another fraction. Now, the key is understanding that you're really taking this number, a over b, and you're dividing it by this number, c over d, right? So what I just did is I rewrote like this fraction divided by a fraction using like elementary division symbol, right? We're taking the top number, dividing it by the bottom number essentially. Now, the other key thing then to realize is that division is defined as really multiplying by the reciprocal. So what I mean is I'm going to multiply the first fraction, a over b. It doesn't change. You keep that the same. But then I'm going to change this sign into multiplication by the reciprocal. So this reciprocal means just flip the fraction. I'd multiply by d over c. So you keep that first fraction, you change the sign into multiplication, right? You change it into multiplication, and then you do the reciprocal of the second guy. It's always the reciprocal of that second fraction. Then you just multiply across. So it'd be a times d over b times c. And you might be thinking, what's all this a, b, c business? Okay, well, let's look at an example that's more concrete. Let's say I gave you the following. 5 over 14 over 2/7. So first thing that I would do is realize that I'm taking this fraction, 5 over 14, and I'm really dividing it by this fraction, 2/7. Notice how I didn't flip anything, right? I'm just rewriting like 5/14 divided by 2/7. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the first fraction as 5/14. Then I'm going to change this into multiplication. And then I'm going to do the reciprocal of only that guy, which would be 7 over 2. Now, if you remember the shortcut multiplying fractions, instead of multiplying across, I always like to see if I can cancel out common factors. So like, for example, I know that 7 goes into 14 twice. So 7 goes into 14 twice. That factor of 2 is in the bottom. And the top is just 5 times, really that's a 1, so it's 5. And the bottom is 2 times 2, 4. So my final answer would be the fraction 5/4. Let's look at B. Give you another guy here. Let's say I have 9 over 5/3. Now you might think here, this is weird because it's not a fraction over a fraction. It's just a number divided by a fraction. Well, no big deal. This is the same as 9 divided by the fraction 5/3. Again, every time I write the problem with the division sign, I don't flip anything, right? It's just the top number divided by the bottom number. Now I keep the top number. I'm going to write that as 9 over 1 though, just so I can see the fraction. And now I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, which would be 3/5. The 3/5 is flipped because now I'm multiplying by the reciprocal. Now I can't cancel anything. I can only multiply 9 times 3, that's 27. 1 times 5 is 5. So that would be my answer for that guy. Let's do one last one. Let's say I gave you 2/3 divided by 12. Well, top is 2/3. I'm dividing that by 12. So again, I always like to write it like a division problem. Now I'm going to write it like a multiplication problem. I'm going to keep the fraction, the first one, then I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of 12. Now you might be thinking, well, reciprocal of 12 is tough. I don't know how to flip that. Well, to flip it, maybe write it as 12 over 1. Then you can write 1/12 like that. Now, what I always like to do again is reduce fractions first. Like I know 2 goes into 12, 6 times. So 2 divides into 12 6 times. That 6 is in the bottom. So since there's that factor of 2 is gone, it's just 1 times 1 in the top. It's 1. 3 times 6, that's what, 18. So it's 1/18. I hope this helps. Good luck with your complex fractions problem type 1.